Picture an ancient Greek hero. You likely imagine a towering, semi-divine warrior like Achilles, who resolves conflict through overwhelming physical force. Odysseus presents a physical and tactical anomaly. Homer describes him as noticeably shorter and broader than his peers, a man who relies on his turns rather than his sword to survive. The Greeks had a specific word for this trait, metis, or cunning intelligence. It is Odysseus's defining characteristic and the absolute engine of his survival. This intellect finally ended the 10-year Trojan War. By using the structural deception of this massive wooden horse, Odysseus bypassed impenetrable walls by convincing the Trojans to drag the enemy inside themselves. Yet the same mind that brought him victory also cursed him to 10 years of wandering and earned him the disdain of entire civilizations. Odysseus endures because he is the smartest man in the ancient world, but his story is defined by the ways he manages to outsmart himself. You see this double-edged intellect clearly in the cave of the Cyclops, Polyphemus. Odysseus and his crew are trapped behind a boulder they cannot move. Physical force is explicitly useless here. Odysseus employs a linguistic trick. He induces sleep with wine and tells the monster his name is Nobody. When he blinds the giant and the Cyclops screams for help, he tells his brothers that nobody is hurting him. The men escape under the cover of this wordplay. But as they row away, Odysseus's intellect is hijacked by his need for recognition. He cannot simply escape. He has to taunt the blinded monster. By shouting his real name to satisfy his pride, Odysseus allows the Cyclops to pray to Poseidon. That single boast triggers the 10-year curse that destroys his crew and delays his return. Cunning saves his body, but his hubris dooms his future. Later societies viewed this trickery with suspicion. In Virgil's Aeneid, the Romans rebranded the hero as cruel, deceitful Ulysses. Roman morality prioritized pietas, rigid duty and honor. To a society with those values, a man who fakes madness by sowing his own fields with salt to avoid a military draft is a fraud, not a hero. By the Middle Ages, this condemnation reached its peak in Dante's Inferno. Dante places Odysseus in the 8th circle, a pit reserved specifically for counselors of fraud. In this vision, Odysseus is a tragic explorer. He perishes because his curiosity outpaces his morality, sailing past the Pillars of Hercules into an ocean that swallows his ship. Across centuries, his mind was viewed as a weapon of malice rather than a tool for survival. Modern literature reclaimed the character by stripping away the divine. In James Joyce's Ulysses, the focus shifts to the psychological toll of the hero's journey. Readers in the 20th century connected with his trauma, his mistakes, and his desperate need to return home. These failures make his journey recognizable. We see a survivor navigating a world that makes no sense. This connection is grounded in physical history. Archaeologists on the island of Ithaca recently identified what they believe to be the school of Homer and actual shrines to Odysseus. These finds include coins and inscriptions reading, "Thanks Odysseus," proving he was a localized object of worship for real people on this coastline. Odysseus relies on resilience and intellect rather than superstrength. His story suggests that even after cataclysmic, self-inflicted mistakes, a person can still find their way home.